Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale Batman The Dark Knight trilogy figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at the Batman Armory 2.0 from The Dark Knight, as well as Bruce Wayne. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Dark Knight trilogy content goes live. Is it just me, or is anyone else feeling a little bit of Dark Knight suit fatigue right now? Not to say I'm not excited for this, I absolutely am, but they keep making and remaking this suit over and over and over again and trickling out little improvements as they give us newer versions. At the time of filming this video, this is the last one they've got on pre-order. Fingers crossed for a while because they have done this suit to death. We literally just got one with the Dark Knight Rises Armory. I know this is from the Dark Knight, there's subtle differences with the suit, but still. As for the box art, up front, an image of the figure itself, then the suit in the armory, and Bruce Wayne in the top right-hand corner. Metallic silver foil Dark Knight Trilogy logo, as well as their names at the bottom. This video is brought to you by JustinsCollection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs, they're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to JustinsCollection.shop in the description. Nothing really on the side of the box, it's mostly blank, save for a couple of logos. The aesthetic for the artwork is pretty similar to what we've been seeing with the rest of the Dark Knight Trilogy 2.0s, so if you're someone that displays their boxes, this is going to fit right in. Around the back, in the background, an image of the armory with the suit in it, then we've got some warnings and legal information over the top. As soon as you open the box, you're greeted by this mini slipcover with some extra figure photography on it, and I'm actually really excited for that Bruce Wayne. This layer on top of the clam tray. Holy shit, that's a lot of stuff. Most of it, all of it, gets stored in the armory, but still, so many accessories. First in-hand impressions for Batman first. So far, so good. I am noticing some changes versus DX19 and even the most recent armory release from Dark Knight Rises. Moving on to Bruce Wayne. Tailoring looks good. Head sculpt looks like an improvement versus DX19. That's to be expected, but more on that a little bit later. What we're going to do now is get all of their accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything they come with. Everything minus the armory. We're going to take a look at it separately in a second, and I know there's a lot of stuff in the center of the frame right now in this tray. I promise you this segment will not take all day. Starting off with Bruce Wayne's display base first, only Bruce gets a base. I didn't like that about the Rises set, I don't like that about the Dark Knight set. Because if you've got Batman displayed as Batman, not as an empty suit in the armory, he's got no base to stand on. But at least Bruce Wayne's one has this concrete textured look up top, Bruce Wayne for the nameplate, and a height adjustable crotch grabber, but Hot Toys, we really should have had two bases. This, after all, is a two-pack. We also only get two hands for Bruce Wayne. They come pre-installed on him right out of the box. Why do we not get a full array of hands? Is he not a real figure? I mean, he is. So where are the rest of his hands? At least these are brand new sculpts. The gestures look quite natural, the painted cuticles, and there's some vein work and skin texture. Oh, and the watch comes packaged separately. You need to install it. There's this crocodile skin looking texture for the band. The face is fully detailed, and I like the shiny silver finish around the edge of the face. This is more of an accessory for the Armory versus Batman. It's the remote to control the light up. There's a large format button cell battery they include. You just pop it in the bottom, then you can use the button up top to turn on the Armory. All of these little bits go with the Batsuit if you're displaying it as an empty suit in the Armory, just to complete the look. The circular cap covers plug into the wrist peg ports. These connect to the ankle joints, then the suit will slide into the grate flooring for the Armory. And the cones with the ball joints on the end, they slide into the top parts of the boots. They connect to the base, the shoe portion, because it's a split cut boot design. If these weren't included, then the boots would literally fall apart. They could not stand up on their own in the Armory. The empty cowl, also for the in the Armory look for the Batsuit, you can split the two pieces if you'd like to have Bruce Wayne just holding onto the cowl. Oh, and speaking of Bruce Wayne, you get this neck seal if you're displaying the Bruce Wayne head sculpt on the Batsuit. That's also an option. We're not going to look at every single individual gadget because there's multiples of certain ones. We get 5 of these sticky bomb guns. You can still split it, still collapse it up, and there's magnets inside of it, so this can store on the back of his belt. And like I said, you get 5 of them. 3 grappling guns, so you can give one to your Batman Begins figure because he didn't come with one. You can remove the bottom cartridge. We get spares of these as well, and the top portion is spring-loaded. This holster piece can slot onto his belt if you'd like to display it on Batman instead of in the Armory. 2 folded up utility belts. They're non-functional. They are foam padded though on the inside. If they were to be functional, then they wouldn't do any damage to the Batsuit once you install them on him. Bat nunchucks with a real metal chain in the middle. 2 activated mines and 2 deactivated ones. Not exactly sure what this is. At first I thought it was the drill that he uses to extract the brick in the Dark Knight, but now that I'm seeing this piece, I think that's what that is. 3 big batarangs, 5 mini ones, and 2 lots of these collapsed ones that look like they'd slot on his belt, but instead, of course, they just get displayed in the Armory. A bat rebreather. We don't see him use this in the movie, but yeah, pretty cool gadget. Multiple sets of multiple variations of cartridges and canisters for his utility belts. There is more, but you can see it all. The little bits and pieces, and you'll see it in more detail in the Armory. Lastly, a full array of hands, and they're all reused from the Dark Knight Rises Armory Batman figure, except they've included these cuff pieces to give them the Dark Knight glove look, because in that movie the cuffs were sticking out over the gauntlets. However, for some unknown reason, mine only came with 1 cuff. I'll be contacting Pop Collectibles to see if I can get another cuff to complete the look, but for now, yeah, I only have 1. These, by the way, the closed fists, love the mesh sculpt work and the glossy knuckles. Then we've got 2 trigger finger hands, prying the fingers open to pop weapons in there, so easy. Gadget / batarang holding hand for the right, why don't we get 2 of these? And the same thing can be said for the splayed out finger open palm hand for the left. And lastly, 2 relaxed open palm hands already installed on him right out of the box. The sculpt work on display, especially on the inside of the palms, very impressive. Let's move on to the Armory itself. Et voila, mere moments for y'all, but hours of painstaking fiddly work for me. It's like the world's most frustrating 1/6 scale jigsaw puzzle, especially the bullets in the back there. There's also something so oddly satisfying about seeing this come together. Once you have everything installed and you stand back, I mean, there's a sense of achievement to accomplishing something like this, and there is no denying that this looks incredible, fully completed with all of the gadgets in it. Let's start off from the ground up with the drawers. I mean, I guess they're drawers. You can fold them out, then the top bits, they're on hinges, and we've got different gadgets in every single one of them. The foam inserts are perfectly shaped to hold the gadgets in place, and while that means it's a little bit tricky to remove everything because they're locked in there, I would much rather that than have everything falling out when you're trying to get this thing into your collection on the shelf. The back foam panels, getting the mini bullets installed, took so long. But how good does this look? Once you have the empty bat suit in the armory with all of the gadgets behind him, that is going to look like $1,000,000. On the front doors, you already know they can open, but the back ones can as well. They're held in place with magnets, so they lock in securely, but say you want this thing to have as much presence as possible, be as large as possible on the shelf, you can open up those back doors. And the paint applications are so much better with this 2.0 Armory. The silver base is nice and shiny. Then there's a black wash in the grills. We've got the black speckling, the silver dry brushing just dotted around the place. And this rusty effect, this speckling that they've used strategically just in the high traffic areas. These real die-cast metal posts, they're what lock the suit in place up top, but then his feet connect to the grill at the bottom, so just like everything else, Batman inside the armory should be pretty secure. It's not a super heavy thing either, it's mostly plastic. There must be some metal in here for the hardware, the screws, the hinges even potentially. The mesh up front, that is all die-cast and it feels great. But if you've got glass shelves in your collection, I don't think this is going to cause you any issues. And I've just now spotted more of that rust work down these cylinders, down the sides of the armory. One thing that I don't like about the 2.0 Armory, and I didn't like this about the 1.0 either, the real metal hooks that slot into the mesh on the doors, that's where you store the sticky bomb guns and the sticky bomb gun components. There's no real way of knowing if they're at the right level for this to be movie accurate. Even the instructions do a terrible job of showing you this. I guessed, and it looks good, but I just wish there was a proper specific spot for these hooks to slot into. Maybe they should have been permanently attached to the doors. Time to try out the light up effect? Yeah, I think so. Plugging in a USB-C cable, they do not include one, which is very frustrating. I've got it connected to this cheap and nasty Signet power bank, but you can plug it into the mains if you so choose. Flicking the switch, then the remote does all of the rest of the work. You can turn it on and off. Once you've got this plugged in, all you need to activate the lights is the remote. It's a really bright light as well. The LEDs are super powerful. We've got multiple spotlights shining down on the gadgets, as well as, of course, the bat suit when it's inside the armory. And you can see them up the top. 8 cool white LEDs. Do I wish they were slightly warmer like the 1.0? Yeah, maybe I would have preferred that, but then again, this does feel more movie accurate. And we also have this much larger sub base that you can slide the armory into. It's just made of plastic. It's a tight fit, it's heavily textured, and it says Batman Armory for the nameplate. They've left a cutout around the back so you can still access the power switch and the USB-C port. It's a monster of a thing. It's a bit of a chore, but it's also one of the most visually impressive, striking, presence-commanding things that Hot Toys have ever made. The engineering, the paint applications, the light up, all of the individual gadgets that you can remove from it. They could have cheaped out and had all of that stuff just sculpted on the doors and in the drawers. They didn't do that. They went all out. They did it the first time, and they did it again with the 2.0. What we're going to do now is get Batman himself out here. This is a 2-pack after all, so both standing straight up and down in the light box, Batman and Bruce Wayne, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. This set is so worth it, but is it perfect? No. Couple of things for us to discuss, and right now, at this very moment, seeing them on the turntable, I prefer Batman to Bruce Wayne. Not just because Batman is Batman and he's cooler, but something about the proportions look off for me with Bruce. They needed to nail that because it's a dude in a business suit. Likeness, proportions, and tailoring. Those 3 are fundamental when you are making characters in business suits in 1/6 scale. They got 2 out of 3, but proportions, they didn't quite get there. As for Batman, it's the same great base mold as the Rises one, just with a couple of changes. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Bruce Wayne's head sculpt. It's similar to the Rises one, like the facial structure, the expression, he's still got moving eyes, but they've changed the hair and they have drastically altered the skin tone. I much prefer the complexion with the head sculpt on the right from the Rises Armory, the lighter skin tone with the more pronounced 5 o'clock shadow, the vein work on the forehead. This one is a lot darker. I'm struggling to understand why they made that choice. If Christian Bale was just genuinely more tan in The Dark Knight, and you know that for a fact, let me know down in the comments. Likeness to Christian Bale, I can see it from pretty much every angle. Sculpted skin texture looks good, and the mole is exactly where it's supposed to be. The seam around the back to access the moving eyes is still there, but it's tighter on this new head sculpt versus the big ugly seam on the Rises one, so I guess if there's one thing they improved on with this sculpt, it's that seam. But while I think the likeness is quite good and the paint applications except for the darker skin tone are serviceable, why does the head sculpt sit so low on the body? He looks like he's got no neck. And I've already tried to push the collar down as far as it will go. I've pulled the suit jacket down. All of that helps, but it doesn't fix the underlying issue. The head sculpt sits too far down on the body. And the bloody tie keeps going down into the vest, and you have to bring it back up to cover the buttons. So frustrating. To move the eyes around, you'll already know you remove the back hairpiece. Then there's heaps of access inside the sculpt. You do not have to grab the tool if you don't want to. This head sculpt with some side eye looks sensational. In my collection, will I be displaying Bruce with some side eye? 100%. Looking to the other side, quite likely because I want to showcase that mole, it helps with the likeness. Back to looking straightforward now, it's worth noting that the eye color is correct for Christian Bale. There's a bit of a green hazel tint to them. They're not brown. That's what they used to do when they were giving us Christian Bale head sculpts, and they would do that for their Batman figures as well. What does this guy look like with the Rises head sculpt on him? Let's find out. I mean, still no neck, still the tie is riding down. This head sculpt, the skin tone is way better. I'm tempted to display him like this. And now I've just got the head sculpt resting inside the collar, not properly clipped into the ball joint neck connector. That fixes the problem. Some kind of spacer is required to solve this. Jackson Jew, Unreal Toys, one of the customizers out there, please give us something to make this a permanent display option. So I believe in the movie this was an Armani suit. Does the Hot Toys version do it justice? Well, it looks a hell of a lot better than their first attempt, I'll tell you that for free. Thin, lightweight fabric, sculpted faux buttons up front, sculpted faux buttons on the vest. The pinstriping is sharp as. And even though we've got separate pieces of fabric for the pockets, the pinstriping lines up. The tie looks accurate, but sort of rides down, which you already know, and we've got a pinstripe on the shirt. I wish the shirt collar was wired, just like the Artisan Joker. The sleeves, they're just the right length for the cuffs for the shirt to poke out and cover up the wrist pegs. Whereas on the left side, I've got him wearing his watch. Coming down to the pants, is he wearing a belt? Nope, but he doesn't need one, and that means there's no bulkiness pushing up against the underside of the vest for the front of his trousers. A lot of padding for the legs to keep the shape of the trousers. We've got a crease down the front. Then he's wearing some socks, and these shoes are beautiful. The sculpt work for the brogues and the stitching and the laces. There's no sculpted tread, but there is some stitching around the edge. Now the question is this the ultimate 1/6 scale Dark Knight suit Batman figure? I'm hoping the answer is yes. Let's dive in and find out. The head sculpt, exactly the same as the Rises one, just again with that darker skin tone for the mouth plate. We don't get any switch out mouth plates. Even though this one is removable, it is not compatible, the cowl, with any of the DX19 mouth plates. So if you want different expressions, we're shit out of luck. We just have to wait for Hot Toys to give us a solo release of this. It'll eventually happen. Then they'll likely include some switch out mouth plates. But for right now, the open mouth expression, what you see is what you get. This cowl is their best Dark Knight suit cowl to date. It was true for this one, it's still true here, but it's slightly shinier now. It's not as matte as the Rises one, so there is a point of difference between the two suits. There's some sculpted skin texture around the eye socket area, and you can even see some sculpted eyebrows. He's more squinted than the DX19 cowl, and that one was never my favorite. The thicker neck helps, it's a magnetic head sculpt, and to move the eyes around, just like the Bruce Wayne head, heaps of access inside the cowl. You don't need to grab the tool if you don't want to. This head sculpt I find works best with some side eye and with the eyes looking up ever so slightly. A handy tip is look at the head sculpt from below. That should help you line the eyes up. Popping the head sculpt back on the body, easy as with the magnets. Yeah, once again, I need to display my Batman with some side eye. That looks so freaking good. Even back to looking straightforward, still more than serviceable. If you'd like to switch between the cowls that come with the Armory Batman figures, they are totally compatible. You can do that. The magnets are the exact same polarity between the two releases. But the question is, how is the cape? It's actually okay. It's more than okay. It's a thin fabric, but it's not lightweight. There's a lot of it. It's heavy. It drapes perfectly. It's a darker color versus the rest of the suit. And the V-shaped cutout up top is present, then the pleats, they're pre-baked in. Is a wired cape preferable to this? For some people, yeah, maybe. For me, I actually prefer a drape cape. And the way it plugs into his armor, nice and secure, the pleats slot in underneath these semi-translucent pieces. The depth there, they nailed this a long time ago, and it still looks great with this new version. There's an outer translucent layer, then a carbon fiber weave piece underneath it, and they've added a bit of a green tint to the clear plastic, and that, to me, looks very movie accurate. The shoulder pads are two separate pieces. Finally, for the longest time, we had to rely on customizers to give us this, and they're attached to the suit with elastic. You can move these pieces pretty freely, but they still hug the body quite well. So the gauntlets aren't fully accurate because they flare out at the base. You can see that, how they kick out at the bottom. These are the Rises ones. They're meant to sit over the base of the gloves. They're also the Rises gloves, which I'm not sure about accuracy on them. They've added the cuffs, though, for this release. Mine only came with one, so I had to take matters into my own hands. Quite literally. I grabbed some DX19 hands, took an X-Acto knife, sliced off the cuffs, and now I've got two of them. It's not a perfect solution. I'm hoping Pop will help me out and get me the cuff that I need, but if that's simply not possible because of Hot Toys and their frustrating return/spare parts policy, then this is displayable. Now the gauntlets up top, the elbow pads, they sit flush to the body and the mesh suit when his arms are hanging down by his sides. As soon as you bend his elbows, they stick out. They need to figure out how to get these elbow pads to sit flush to the body because that's how it worked in the movie. His belt is adjustable up and down, you can move it around, and there's magnets in the back of it, so the sticky bomb gun, both components, can be stored on the back of the belt. I can already tell what they're going to do with this. We're going to get an ultimate Dark Knight Batman with this new head sculpt, but more mouth plates, more hands, less accessories because no armory, but the backpack from the Hong Kong scene. All of this is new sculpt work, or it was for the Rises version, now carried over to this piece. Underneath the cape, sculpted rubbery plastic armor bits, likely PVC, they've been fused to the mesh fabric undersuit. And around the front, everything is so thin and sleek. Even down here for the legs, they were touting that this works as though it's one thing. It's not just armor glued to fabric, and that is 100% the case. The way this moves, yes, it buckles, yes, it wrinkles, but I've not had any issues leaving any of my Dark Knight suit Batman figures in dynamic poses because the undersuit is pure, stretchy mesh spandex. The knee pads, they're permanently attached to the suit. The crotch armor, by the way, is still comically oversized. I don't understand why that's so big. The boots, split cut boot design, wrinkles up front, Mesh texture down the side, some stitching sculpted in, detail for the tread, including the bat summoners, but they are not removable. There is one more thing that we need to try, then we can move on to the armory itself, and that's combining the two figures, Bruce Wayne's head sculpt on the Batsuit body. I might have to rock him like this, because, I've got issues with the Bruce Wayne body anyway. I don't have any issues with this, though. The length of the neck, how the head sculpt plugs into the body, that little neck seal that covers up any would-be gaps. It's a perfect display option. Yes, you're left with a random Bruce Wayne suit body in the collection, but if you can live with that, it looks sensational. And not that difficult to do either. You just remove the cowl neck piece after you've taken off the head sculpt, then you can install the collar first. After you've done that, slide the Bruce Wayne head sculpt into that collar. So to get Batsy ready to go in the armory, we've got some housekeeping to do. We can't just pop him in there and call it a day. Step 1, remove the head sculpt. Step 2, remove the neck piece. Then you need to take the hands off, including the wrist pegs, remove the boots, as well as the cape. And the cape is not the most difficult thing in the world to take off. I like to grab these front clips, pull them forward, then you can take it off. The boots, angle the feet back. As you saw, easy as, just slide the top pieces off as well. Then you grab these cone bits, slide them through the top part of the boots, and plug the base bit onto the ball joint. Connect these clear plastic pieces to the ankle pegs, kind of fiddly to get them seated all the way. I suggest wiggling them as you push them on. Then remove the hands, including the wrist pegs, grab the cap cover pieces, and plug them in place underneath the gauntlets. Do it on both sides. And lastly, the empty cowl and the neck piece. You can separate the two components. That might make it a little bit easier to plug this on the body, but once you've got it situated, give it a push, it'll lock in place. It's time to get Batman inside the armory. I've already prepared mine by opening the doors and moving the drawers out the way, so we've got room to work. The clear plastic clips on Batman's feet, they go in the second track from the front for the back row of tracks. Not the front one, but the second one back. Also, make sure the metal bracket parts up top are pushed all the way into the roof because they are telescopic. You will need to bring them down once you pop Batman inside the armory. Speaking of bringing them down, pulling them so they sit flush against the suit, make sure they're facing in towards his neck and not going the other way. The last step, this is the easiest of the lot, is to grab the boots and pop them next to the Batsuit. Just look at it. It is glorious. This is a statement piece with the lights on, illuminating the gadgets behind Batman, the Batsuit itself. I don't know how I want to display my Batman. Do I want to have him as Batman, or do I want to have it as an empty suit inside the armory? It feels wasteful to not use this as Batman, but now that I'm seeing this, I'm torn. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And very quickly, here's Bruce alongside the Batsuit, still inside the armory with the lights turned on. This is a centerpiece. This is something that will draw pretty much everyone's eye immediately as soon as they walk into the collection room. That's how good this is. For a quick side-by-side comparison, Dark Knight Armory on the left, Rises Armory on the right. They're 95% exactly the same. But there's still some differences. Number 1, more of a matte finish for the cowl and the suit with Rises. I prefer that. Shorter cape with Rises. No glove cuffs. The belt is less saturated with Rises. It's more of a champagne gold. And there's less of a green tint to the armor pieces. But the undersuit, the body, the sculpt even for the mouthplate, identical. It's just those minor differences between the two. But oh, I am loving this. Artisan Joker on the right next to the proper Dark Knight suit. It wasn't right to have him displayed next to the Rises one in the collection, but that's what I had to resort to because this piece wasn't out yet. These two, match made in heaven. The accurate bat suit from the Dark Knight paired up with Hot Toys' best, current best, until maybe we get the bank robber one, 1/6 scale Joker. Still not in love with Bruce's proportions, the short neck, the tall shoulders giving him that hunched look, and the darker, more reddish tan skin tone, but it matches the mouth plate in the cowl with the bat suit, so these two, yeah, they work next to each other. See, for me, that's more like it. That skin tone looks accurate to Christian Bale, the Dark Knight Rises head sculpt. Next to the Batsuit, how does the Power Pose figure look? Pretty solid, but I still wish this wasn't a 1/6 scale statue. And lastly, the competition. The figure that this new one will be replacing in my collection, DX19, but he is not stock. He's got a custom OT Customs head sculpt and neck piece on him. Stock mouth plate, stock eyes, but still, some custom work has been done. DX19 is shorter, the cape is a hell of a lot longer and significantly worse. Then the green tint to the armor is less exaggerated. The hands, they're a single piece sculpt with the cuffs for the gloves, and the belt isn't as vibrant as this new one. Going over articulation on Batman, I'm expecting this to be almost exactly the same as the Riser suit. In fact, no, this should be identical. Starting off with his head sculpt, ball joint at the base of the neck, then the head is on a magnet. I love magnetic neck connectors because of the range they give you. Looking all the way forward, looking all the way up. As long as the magnet holds on, then you've got yourself a pose, swivel, and tons of pivot side to side. Shoulder pads are separate pieces on elastic straps. The arms will go up to there and be pushed back down by those elastic straps. Going forward and back, completely flushed down by his sides, pretty much, little gap there. Butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow on ratchets going past 90. The elbow pad still sticks out, very unfortunate. Then for the wrist peg, it's a ratcheted hinge and swivel, covered by that cuff piece. Torso crunching forward to there, restricted by all of this armor plating. Going back to there, it gets quite gappy at the top though, but the detail work continues underneath the chest armor. Swivel and some pivot side to side. Legs going forward on clicky ratchets to there, but they spring back down because of those armor bits. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee, going past 90. Then a double ball peg for the ankle and a split cut boot design, good for forward and back, rotation, as well as some ankle tilt, but not much. Moving on to Bruce, ball joint at the base of his neck, looking forward to there, but he's got this very hunched thing going on when you do that. Looking up to there, make sure you adjust the tie after you're done. Swivel and some pivot side to side. Arms will go up to there, completely flushed down by his sides. Actually, this time, no gaps at all. Forward and back, butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow on ratchets going past 90. Just make sure you manage the excess fabric for the sleeves. Bring the cuffs down to cover up those wrist pegs. Torso crunching forward, going back to there, trying not to mess up the suit. Swivel and some pivot side to side. Legs going forward on clicky ratchets to there, further than Batman. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. The fat suit ends around here. There's a gap, and then another fat suit piece takes over for the shins, but double bend at the knee on ratchets going past 90. Double ball peg for the ankles, good for forward and back, rotation, as well as heaps of ankle tilt. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is how on earth did I only get 1 glove cuff on my figure in the box? So noticeable from a QC perspective. You look at the figure, you would see it straight away. But no, I only got 1. I had to fashion my own by cutting the cuffs off my DX19 spare hands. That's how I could complete the look for my new Batman. The second annoying thing, while I like the head sculpt overall from a likeness perspective, it's got moving eyes, the hair seam is a lot tighter than it was on the Rises one, the skin tone is too dark. It was perfect with the Dark Knight Rises Christian Bale sculpt. I'm not sure why they went darker with this new release. The third annoying thing is Bruce Wayne is the only figure in this set to get a display base. You could argue, well, Justin, the Armory is Batman's base. But not really. I mean, if you're displaying the suit empty, yes, or if you're displaying Bruce suiting up in the Batsuit potentially, but I still think that Batman should have got his own standalone base as well. The first cool thing is this is not just the Rises figure chucked in the box, they've genuinely made some changes to the finish and some of the bits as well. Longer cape, more saturated belt, greener tint for the armor, the cuffs, love that innovation, if only I'd have received two of them, and the satin finish for the cowl plus everything else. The second cool thing, we don't have to rely on batteries anymore. Now, this bad boy, the Armory, is USB-C powered, so we can have it plugged in, lit up all the time in the collection. The third cool thing, ignoring the length of the neck, the tailoring on display with Bruce Wayne's Armani suit is spot on. It's thin, lightweight, it hugs the body perfectly. I'm going to try and fix the neck because currently that is the only thing doing this figure a disservice. Wrapping up on the Batman Dark Knight Armory 2.0 with Batman and Bruce Wayne, get this. If you don't have the Rises Armory, you need this. It's arguably the more iconic of the two armories, but is it the cooler of the two? For me? Actually, no. Yes, this one is awesome. I prefer the translucent plastic Rises Armory, the water droplet effect on the outside, all of the working pistons and the linkages. It's still got lights. And if you think about it, it's from the Batcave. That is the armory that Bruce always wanted to have his Batsuit displayed in, whereas the Dark Knight one is a temporary armory set up in his shipping container hideout, if that makes sense. But with all of that being said, this is still an incredible set. It's mind-blowingly good, even though there's flaws. Yes, the proportions aren't perfect on Bruce. The skin tone is more tan. But if you don't compare this to the Rises one, the skin tone might not be an issue for you. You don't get any switch-out mouth plates, but the one they do give you, it's an expression that Christian Bale makes all the time when he's wearing the cowl. So at the end of this, it's worth getting, it's worth the price point. You get two figures plus an armory, or you could display the Batsuit as an empty suit inside of the armory itself. If you've got DX19, even better. Pop the empty armor bits on that and install that inside the armory. Then you've got yourself a new and improved Batman. As for Bruce, I'm going to work on it. Try and fix that short neck issue, then he will be the definitive Dark Knight Armani suit Bruce for the collection. Now, I got my set for the Armory 2.0 from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. You're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.